All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to. There we go. Welcome back to Vinland Saga Season 2, Episode 22. So, last time we left off with good old Thorfinn getting punched, and of course, our boy Knut being a coward. By the way, being afraid. The only character in that episode who shows a lack of courage, contrary to the episode title, which is interesting. Then, of course, we have Olmar being as courageous as ever, defending the farm, surrendering himself. Of course, he's on his way. And we're still waiting for him to appear because Thorfinn is getting a beating. So, anytime now, Olmar, anytime. So, let's just immediately get into the meat of things. Oh, of course, let's get the Twitch version up first. Almost forgot to do that. Hang on, give me a sec. I do wonder if we are going to actually see Canute and Thorfinn meet in this episode, or are we going to save that for like the final episode? Because it is a pretty big moment, and it pretty much mirrors like the exact structure of season one. Now that I'm thinking about it, like I've talked about it multiple times already in other streams before of how these past few episodes we are structurally speaking taking a very similar route to how to what happened in season one. And there we go. All right. Mm. As usual, timer-based reaction on YouTube, picture-in-picture version in the description below. Or if you're watching it live, then you can hop on over to Twitch, where I am showing the footage on screen. Whichever one you fancy. If you're watching the VOD, then maybe wait a couple of hours after the VOD is finished or once the stream is over, so that I can actually edit the picture-in-picture version and put it up on BitChute and other websites. Alright. Let's get this over with. So if you're still watching on YouTube, then grab your copy of the episode because the countdown for the timer starts now. Just 16, huh? The King of Rebellion. But who are we referring to? Oh, you have no idea. It's also a nice parallel to episode 3 of this season, when Thorfinn's taken a beating by Snake and his men. Still trying to find that first method. Finally here at last. Great shot. And the hairband is off. It is ridiculous. Yes, he is. I wonder if Thorfinn will actually get to 100 punches, or he's going to almost reach 100 punches and then Canute is gonna step in and say that's enough. But that's not the problem, is it? Yeah. That iconic music kicking in. Tell him. Whew! Incredible. His conviction, his resolve. You gotta let him do it, man. Oh, great shot. Woo! Also shows how much Einar fully trusts Thorfinn in this situation. Einar in episode 3 would have want this to stop. Almar being moved. One more punch, man. One more punch. Softly putting it on his heart. Very symbolic. You are a true warrior. Beautiful. The way Thorfinn is just standing there. Mm-hmm. Oh, that only proves. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is stupid. I have no enemy. Say it. Say it. There we go. Oh, that is so satisfying. There is that as well. There is that angle. It's always two sides, right? Thorfinn and Canute, always the two sides of the same coin. Great shot, great way of revealing the tense. But yeah, like we've discussed this. They both want the same thing. They want paradise on Earth. Just very completely different. Um. Mm-hmm. A whole mountain of them. Yep. But yeah, as I was saying, like they want the same thing. Two very different approaches and ideologies, even. The way Einar walks, like, show the dead. The ones who shouldn't die. Ones who died following others. She's not even facing him. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah. The lighting, the color, some of the shot compositions. Oh yeah, this episode is a banger. What a moment. What a moment. Hmm. As we show the scar on his ear. The lack of music just adds more to the atmosphere. This music is telling a story. It's very uneasy. That's one way of putting it. This music, though. Mm-hmm. Man, these canoe shots. All right, let's see it. Wow. Wow. What great, incredible. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Yep. The one above. The King of Rebellion. Mm-hmm. But oh, great use of. Mm-hmm. Whew. Jeez. These shots, man. Yeah. What will you do? They're doing that a lot with Canut's arm, kind of showing his, how powerful he is and how much strength that he truly possesses. His command carries weight, and it shows. You feel that what each time he moves his arms. The episode is gonna end. God damn it. I think it's. I mean, we talked about this before, like, and how I thought this whole discussion between Canute and Thorfinn is gonna go. Ultimately, it is a battle of dialogue and a battle of ideologies. In the eyes of Thorfinn, he thinks that Canute is, a really powerful person, yes, of course, but in the eyes of Canute, he wants to be a powerful person. He's not necessarily the most powerful person. All of that boasting of like, look at my power, look at my strength, look at what I can do, and then not really able to doing that kind of fuels his own ambitions of like, yeah, I want to do more. These are the things that I want to do. And these are powers of God. Alright, let me pause. So it is, in a way, very, very fascinating and not just fascinating, it's beautiful, I would say. Hang on, if you're watching on Twitch, then hop on back to YouTube because I'm gonna end the stream there. So thank you so much for watching if you are watching on Twitch. So, alright, I'm stopping the stream on Twitch. But as I was saying, what a beautiful episode. The almost like almost the callbacks to like episodes past, and of course, the just the overall dialogue between Thorfinn and Canute, like I miss this dialogue from season 1 where we are essentially getting two vastly different ideologies from two vastly different characters, but they all have the same goal, they all have the same thing, right? In season 2, I would say most of, all of the great dialogue and all of the incredible messages and themes of the show primarily comes from Thorfinn's ideology, right? And what he perceives and what he thinks is the perfect world and the perfect person, right? Perfect, even though everybody is always going to be imperfect, and that's why we are going on this journey in the first place, right? Of Thorfinn trying to find out what it means to be a true warrior, right? There's going to be a lot of imperfections, there's always going to be a lot of challenges in the way, but that is just the journey towards that. But we're almost always seeing it through the ideologies and through Thorfinn's beliefs. Again, for this season of Vinland Saga, this second season, almost everything that revolves around the farm. The only times that we kind of see it in a different way is when we always cut back to Canute, but we don't really see Canute that much in this season, right? It's always Thorfinn and Einar most of the time, so we don't really get that countering debate, if you will. Whereas in season 1, we are following multiple different characters with multiple different ideologies, right? And that's what makes the religious talks, for example, in season 1, their beliefs, again, their ideologies and all that stuff, all the more unique because we're seeing it through the lenses of various different characters. Like, we got Ashkalad, there's Thorfinn. Thorfinn was the audience surrogate, right, in the first season, right? We are in the shoes of Thorfinn because Thorfinn is the empty vessel. He doesn't have an ideology yet. He doesn't have any belief. He doesn't know what he wants, right? He's still, at first he thinks that he wants to be just like his father, but then his father shows him what he truly is, and then he becomes confused, right? Thorfinn is the young person in the group who is just following whatever he thinks is great, right? And whatever he thinks is the right path, even though none of it is. The point of season 1 is to showcase that Thorfinn is lost in the forest. He doesn't really know which way to go, right? And season 2 is showing that Thorfinn finally carves his own path. That was the point. You don't really necessarily follow other people's path, you carve your own path, right? Whether it be the same path that other people made or not, it's up to you, but ultimately Thorfinn did carve his own path. But Season 1, Thorfinn, empty vessel, doesn't really have any beliefs or ideologies, he's still learning, but then you got Askeladd, you got Canute, you got Thorkel, you got King Sweyn, you got the priest, a lot of characters and a lot of different ideologies, right? And that's the thing that I really, really love about Season 1. And we get that again in this episode, and it's primarily from the two biggest characters that has the most impact of not just the story but the world of Vinland Saga as a whole. And this banter, and here's the thing, right? This episode, while we got, I mean, we as the audience, we know Thorfinn's ideologies, we know his beliefs, right? We've been following him for the past season or two, season and a half, even, right? When he's, you know, starting to understand what it means to be a true warrior and such, right? And even in like the first half of this episode, when he was getting, you know, punches from one of Canute's men, right? We as an audience, we know what that means. We know the conviction. We know how much resolve that Thorfinn is willing to do, right? And he's not really saying it into words. That's the key. That's one of the things that I just realized right now. In this episode, Thorfinn was able to showcase and tell the audience and the other characters what he represents and what he is trying to do, his ideologies, his beliefs, like I said, without really telling them, without really giving exposition on like, yeah, I want to make paradise, I want to become a true warrior, and this is what it means, and blah blah blah. No, he's doing it through his own actions. His actions speaks louder than words. And then we cut to them actually meeting and discussing, and then we have Canute. Canute requires to be explained, right? There's the difference. With Canute, it's all about the words. Canute needs to tell Thorfinn his ideology, his belief, because if we're just looking at it through the lenses of, you know, of an outsider, looking at his actions, looking at Canute's actions, you don't really get that Canute is trying to make paradise on Earth, right? You would get the complete opposite. He's trying to make hell on Earth. He's committing war. He's killing people. He's slaughtering men. So Canute needs to tell him, right? Canute needs to tell Thorfinn and the audience as well through words. No. What I'm doing is defying God. What I'm doing is this and that. And there's the difference between the two of them. Especially in this episode. It almost shows how much more powerful Thorfinn is compared to Canute. Canute is strong. He is powerful. But his own actions were not enough. He needs to sway people with his words. Thorfinn does not need that. Thorfinn's actions, again, even Einar is a great example of this. Thorfinn, I mean, of course, Thorfinn has been talking with Einar for like this entire season. Yes, he's been drilling and saying about like his ideologies and again and all that stuff and why and what he's trying to strive for. But in the case of this specific episode, Thorfinn didn't really say anything to Einar, right? He doesn't really tell Einar why he's doing this or what to do. Don't stop me or anything or whatever. No, Einar just watches. Einar just watches Thorfinn get punched, realizes what he's trying to do, to the point where he stops Snake of like, dude, please don't. Thorfinn needs this. I can't really explain it, but he has to. And even Snake as well. Snake ultimately lets Thorfinn go, right? after Einar tells him, no, don't stop him. Like the snake doesn't really have much context of what is going on, but he lets Thorfinn do it anyway. Again, showing how much more powerful Thorfinn is through his actions. And then juxtaposing that to Canute's entire speech of like, oh, I can command the waves. No, I cannot actually command the waves. You see how frail and weak I am. This is what I'm trying to do. And while as great as that scene is, still, it kind of shows how much more weak Canute is. The King of Rebellion, he says. And look at how many men are behind Canute, and look at how many men are behind Thorfinn and Einar. So you're telling me the King of Rebellion, the most powerful man on earth, the guy who essentially united all of the Vikings and all, and he's afraid of these two people, these two all former slaves. He's afraid of them. He needs bodyguards. He needs hundreds of men behind him, ready to take action. This is just beautiful and just effective visual storytelling. Like, you don't really need to tell the audience that Canute is weak and afraid and a coward or any of the above. Especially when he is facing against Thorfinn. Because you don't really need to tell that to the audience because it's like pretty clear what's actually going on. And I find it to be great, beautiful, and effective. This entire episode was great. A lot of beautiful shots as well. I think it's great. It's great that this entire moment in this episode, I guess, is done in like the golden hour, right? Where the sun is setting. It's like that perfect time where everything is golden. Like, I just love the color grading and just the overall use of color in this episode. Like, previous episodes, usually it's a lot more desaturated, a lot more darker, a lot more gray. In this episode, it's pretty clear, almost kind of symbolizing the state of Thorfinn's mind, if you will. Like, Thorfinn in this exact moment has never been this calm. He has never been this much peaceful. His mind has never been much clear. He knows who he is. He knows what he's trying to do. He understands his goals. Like, it's clear for him. A lot of really great shots of Canute in this episode. Like they are just. Oh, you want some good Canute art? Want to see me do it again? 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 Like oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's gonna be hard choosing a thumbnail for this episode. I love this moment. I really do. All of that boastful speech just to prove the message of like, yeah, I'm powerless. I'm still human. I can't really do the things that I want to do because I am not God. So I am defying him. Which also, I guess, goes back into one of the themes of Vinland Saga of like trying to be someone you're not. Thorfinn, for the longest time, wanted to be just like his father. But then that reality shatters when his father died, and then he realizes that what his father is representing may not necessarily be what Thorfinn wants at the time. And in season 2, it's pretty much clear that he's not trying to be his father anymore. No, he's trying to go beyond his father. Right? He's going down the path that Thor's had never went to, right? It's not about being just like Thor's. It's not about being just like Ashkelad. It's not about being another person who you think is ideal. No, it's about being yourself. It's about fighting your own battles. It's about becoming your true self. Thorfinn got that. Thorfinn realizes and understands that. He's not trying to be anyone else. He's trying to be Thorfinn. Canute, on the other hand, is trying to be God. He thinks he's trying to be his own person, but of course that is not the case. He's shooting for the stars, and it's kind of a dumb way to do it, because no matter how far you shoot to the stars, it's never gonna reach it, so it's almost another fool's dream, another fool's ambition. The one that you kind of have to respect on one hand because of how far Canute is willing to go to reach it, but still a fool nonetheless. I missed the Canute and Thorfinn dynamic from season 1, them having dinner with Ragnar. I wonder what Ragnar will think of Canute in this season, especially for what he has become. Canute is an incredible man. People may disagree with him, but it won't hurt to understand the reason for his actions. Exactly, I agree. After all, the world is changing for the better because of people like him. Again, it's like two sides of the same coin, right? Thorfinn and Canute wants the same thing, obviously with two very different ways of doing it. One would say that Canute's actions and his goals and reasoning is a much more realistic character than Thorfinn. Because in this sense, Thorfinn is the one who's chasing the fantasy, right? The idea of you being the most perfect person on Earth, not trying to resolve battles and wars through the most peacefulest of ways possible, in the most unorthodox way possible, I would say, right? Being punched 100 times, for example, and trying to be a pacifist amongst wolves, if you will. It's clear that Thorfinn is, while on one hand, the ideal that obviously the story is trying to tell the audience, right? He is the poster boy, right? He is the character that you, the audience, need to be, right? That was the message, right? But it is a fantasy, though. It is a almost unlikely dream. But that's why we're trying to reach for it. We're trying to reach the impossible, right? Can it be done? We don't know. But Canute is that other spectrum where, as I said, is the more realistic approach. Canute is what a normal person would do. He is what a normal leader would do. And the fact that there's a lot of things that um um that we can either disagree with when it comes to Canute, right? And his actions, for example. A lot of people may dislike him, a lot of people may not necessarily follow everything that he stands for example. But that just goes to show like how well written Canute's character is and how much more realistic it is. What do I think is gonna happen next? They're gonna continue to talk. I mean, what else is there to think about when there's barely anything um to theorize? Like it's Vinland Saga plays itself as a really well written epic story to the point where I don't really want to know what happens next because it flows really well. Because it's not a mystery, right? Vinland Saga is not a mystery at all. With a mystery show, for example, there's a lot of clues, there's a lot of things that we can kind of piece together and we can kind of theorize of, oh, this is gonna happen next, this and that is gonna happen next. But with Vinland Saga, it's more like I'm just gonna be sitting here and I'm just gonna strap on and experience the story for what it is. Because at this point, it is a battle of different ideologies, but it's again the same ideology, the same goal, but just very different approaches. If I were to theorize of what Thorfinn is going to respond or what he's going to say with Canute, then obviously um I would think of two options or two outcomes. One is that he's going to either he's going to, well, I mean, he can't fully disagree with him because again, they share a very similar ideology. Can't really fight Canute because that would go against everything that he was standing up for, right? I'm trying to make peace, not war. Why would I want to punch someone? Why would I want to cause more violence? That's stupid. And of course he doesn't really want to get rid of the farm because that is what his entire that is why he is here in the first place. Could there be a compromise? I'm trying to think of I'm trying to imagine a story or a pathway that results that resolves all of this, because we are technically in an impasse. Knut's not going to let go of the farm, and Thorfinn is not gonna let go of the farm. So what's it gonna be? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, whatever happens between Canute and Thorfinn is gonna go with Leaf. Like that much is certain. If we're taking historical context into account, right? Because Thorfinn and Leaf, they would go on and go to Vinland. So there is this gap between this episode and Thorfinn and Leaf in Vinland that I can't really fill, because I'm not sure how we would get there. Or maybe next episode we're going to actually get Thorfinn talking more, because that's like the point, right? That's the point of this. That's the point of this diplomatic approach that Thorfinn is trying to do, right? And as I said, this episode between Thorfinn and between Thorfinn and Canute is the one who is mostly doing the talking. Thorfinn's actions spoke louder than words, obviously, but once you are literally being surrounded by all of these men, you kind of have to talk. So, obviously, next episode we're gonna be diving more into what Thorfinn had in mind, his thoughts, probably trying to convince Canute again. The question is whether or not Canute is going to be convinced. Maybe surrendering is an option. It is an option. Because as the previous episode pretty much established, surrendering is not a cowardly thing to do. It is a very courageous thing to do. Because surrendering means you are sacrificing people and things, stuff, for the greater good. But it's not just gonna be about surrendering, is it? It's not just gonna be, alright, I surrender, take the farm, leave. No, that's not gonna be the case. Olmar was about to do it, right? Olmar was about to surrender. If Olmar was the one who is meeting Canute right now, the farm would have would have been done. Canute would have had the farm by now. But Olmar is not the one who's talking with Canute. It's Thorfinn. Thorfinn wants something completely else, something beyond just surrendering. No. He wants peace. And obviously Canute is not gonna give it to him. I wonder if Thorfinn is gonna join Canute's forces, though. Like, trying to convince Canute and his people, teaching them about his ideologies, his ideas. So instead of going against them, because they share different views, you join them because they share different views, and you want to change that. I wonder if that could be I wonder if that is going to be the way out. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't because again, like, character decisions, especially in this show, a character can do something that may seem out of character at first, but if they are able to convince me or they are able to relay why they're doing it, then I can go, oh yeah, I can understand why they did it. So anything goes. Thorfinn has no reason to want to kill Canute, am I right? Yes. At this point, he has no reason to. And if he does, then that would go against his entire conviction of not wanting to kill another person. Like, he's swearing off violence. He's not going to kill anyone else after episode 9. Old Thorfinn probably, but present Thorfinn, nah. The last thing that Thorfinn wants to do is to kill people in this season. But yeah, overall, this episode is great. Love the ideological banter between banter. Is it even a banter? Love the contrast between Thorfinn and Canute in this episode. It's the one thing that I've been wanting for the show to, I guess, address and show ever since we've met Canute and Thorfinn and they show their conviction in the season. This episode was beautifully done. It was beautiful. The music, by the way, I haven't talked about the music. Like, the music during this moment when Thorfinn and Canute are talking is so good. I love how we start I love how we start the scene with no music at all. No, just the sound effects of, like, the waves crashing and all, and the winds howling. And then once we get more and more intense with the discussion, the music kicks in, but the music is frenetic. It's chaotic in a way because it's unsure, right? There's these little, like, I don't know how to describe it, but if you've if you've heard the music in that scene, that you know what I mean, right? It's very chaotic, and I love it. Yeah, it's very unnerving, which I love. Overall, great episode. Fucking love it. Definitely, it's definitely up there as, man. Season 2 of Vinland Saga. Just stop. You're giving me too many good episodes. Like, my top 10 episodes of Vinland Saga is mostly going to be consisting of season 2 episodes. Like, that is insane. Next episode, next week, is going to be the penultimate episode, which will be exciting. So, that is pretty much it for this video. How does it rank for you when it comes to episodes? I mean, I don't know. That like it's harder for me to even choose like what I think is like the number one episode, because like there's so many good ones. But yeah, great episode. Next week is going to be the penultimate episode, so that will be interesting. And I cannot wait to see how they're going to resolve this. Because either way, this season is going to end with Thorvin leaving the farm. Like, the farm is over. The arc surrounding the farm has come to an end. Like, there's really no need for them to linger more on the farm, right? It's about moving on. It's about continuing down your path, right? The farm is just another obstacle down the path. That's just another place that you cross paths with. Now you're about to say goodbye. So the farm is gone after this season is over. I'm gonna miss the farm, like this entire season. Like, I've grown so much to love this farm filled with slaves and murderers and rapists. Yeah. See you all next week for the next episode of Vinland Saga, episode 23. That will be exciting. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody. Have a nice day. Peace.